Hey guys, just a little reminder, from now until December 26th, my G Fuel discount code IMMORTAL will get you 30% off your entire order. So if you do want to pick up a new tub, shaker cup, or starter pack, now is easily the best time to do so thanks to that increased discount. So if you do want to check that out, the link will be down in the description below, but for now, on to today's video. Ladies and gentlemen, it is that time once again. Modern Warfare has just gotten another new update. However, instead of a full-on title update like what we've seen in the past few weeks, today's update was actually a smaller hotfix or game settings change that you will have automatically installed upon launching the game and downloading it for a few seconds on the main menu. But despite it being a smaller update than what we've seen recently, this update brought with it a handful of new features and also some news of what's to come in the future weeks. So today we're breaking down all the changes that just came to the game with this newest mini update. But before we jump into that, if you are new here, hey, hi, how you doing? Each and every day we've always got the latest news and intel regarding Call of Duty going up on the channel, so feel free to subscribe with your notifications turned on if you want to stay up to date with all of that. And of course, if you enjoy the video, let me know by dropping a like rating on it, as it would be much appreciated. Now let's get into the brand new mini update and everything that changed with it. So right away we got two pretty big updates to the playlist for this week. However, it should be noted that the playlists are going to be changing on a pretty frequent basis, it seems, as this week we got the modes of Infected and Gunfight OSP introduced into the game, but Infinity Ward has stated that these two modes will be available starting today, obviously, and they will last until December 18th, where they will then be replaced with some other modes. So much like what we had back in Black Ops 4 last year, I would assume every 7 to 10 days or so, we'll actually see some playlist changes occur in order to keep things fresh. But back on to what's going on today. Obviously, Infected is a fan favorite mode that we've seen numerous times in the past, and it's a flat out fight to survive, as one person is selected as the initial infected, and everyone else must try and survive until time runs out without getting infected in order to win. And then Gunfight OSP is just like Gunfight. It's a 2v2 mode where you have to scavenge for weapons and equipment that can be found on the ground and walls of any given map. Now, alongside Infected and Gunfight OSP, we also have the playlists of Realism Mosh Pit, Ground War, and Shoot House 24/7 this week as well. We also have one other minor back-end change that came with today's update too, and that was the introduction of Anaya Palace into the Ground War rotation. So that's now available alongside Karst River Quarry, Tovorsk District, Kravnik Farmland, and Port as well, so be on the lookout for that. Ideally, it should play a little more fast-paced and chaotic with a full Ground War lobby compared to what it's been so far, so I for one am definitely looking forward to jumping into the action there. Now, the next thing that ended up changing with today's mini update is that of the shop or the in-game store, which is yet another thing that will be updated on a weekly basis moving forward. So each week we can essentially expect there to always be a few changes come to the game in the form of playlist refreshes and shop refreshes to add in new featured bundles. This week we ended up getting two new bundles in the store, the first being Cold Blooded, which is available for 2,400 COD points, and it comes with the Winter Warrior Operator skin, the Wendigo Assault Rifle, got some Until Dawn vibes there, the Whiteout Handgun, the Icicle Melee, the Precious Commodity Watch, the Ice Age Emblem, the Ice Smith's Calling Card, the Works Every Time Operator Quip, the Say What Finishing Move, and one tier skip for the Battle Pass. Then we also got the Mother Russia bundle for 2,000 COD points, and this one features the Commuter Operator skin, the Old Country Light Machine Gun, the Slick Steel Handgun, the Time to Die Watch, the Motherland sticker, the Ursa Roar emblem, the Rain and Lead Calling Card, the That Is That Operator Quip, the Brass Tactics Finishing Move, and one Battle Pass tier skip as well. So if you are interested in either of those bundles, they are now available to purchase on top of the several others that we have available right now too. Moving on, the in-game changes that we saw with today's update were not the only important things we saw surface in the Call of Duty universe today, as we also got some pretty big news about what's to come in-game, and some very interesting news about what could be going on behind the scenes over at Infinity Ward. So first and foremost here, Ashton Williams, the community manager over at IW, has recently stated on Reddit that we'll end up getting a roadmap for content and updates in the near future, and there's also a major fix for matchmaking coming soon. However, it's not necessarily what we had all hoped it might be. Obviously, skill-based matchmaking, or whatever the performance-based matchmaking that we apparently have is definitely not favored by the majority of the community, or at least the majority of the vocal community. But in regards to a Reddit post titled, "There is nothing wrong with MW matchmaking," that showed off the ridiculous pings that a lot of players had in a specific match, Ashton actually replied with, "We found a bug in our patch system where a small percentage of players were not able to properly obtain the latest patch, meaning this percentage of players were not getting match made with the larger player base who are on the latest updates." So for those of you who have noticed increasingly high pings or very, very slow lobby fill times, chances are you're not actually on the current update by mistake, and a fix is coming for this in the next title update. So I would assume we'll see this come either later on this week or early next week if I had to guess. And then on top of that, in that same Reddit post, another Reddit user replied to that comment and said, "We would also like to see a roadmap and a sort of what's going on with the game kind of post." And to that, Ashton replied simply with, "This is coming." So it seems in the near future we'll be able to know what's to come in the remainder of Season 1, and presumably when each new season starts, we'll get some kind of seasonal roadmap, kind of like what we had back in Black Ops 4 for each operation that launched, as those were incredibly useful when it came to knowing what we could still expect throughout the remainder of the season or operation back then. However, that is still not all when it comes to news that we've seen surface recently regarding the overall state of the game, because apparently this past week, Activision actually sent out a handful of random surveys to community members, asking them what would convince players to start playing the game again. Meaning this survey was apparently sent out to players who initially were playing the game quite a bit and have since stopped playing as much, and some of these options are pretty interesting. You can see on the list of choices to choose from, you have things like new in-game events and challenges, new maps and modes for multiplayer, if there was a difficulty setting in Spec Ops, if there were more technical problems resolved, if multiplayer challenge progression issues were resolved, if the spawn logic on multiplayer maps was changed, if weapon balance issues were resolved, if there were new Spec Ops missions and modes, if match balance issues were resolved, and if you were allowed to vote in the pregame lobby for what map you were about to play on. Now, some of these things are a little less standout, I guess, than others, like various technical problems and progression issues. Those things are likely going to be fixed regardless of how many people actually select those options on this survey. But some of these other options certainly catch my eye at least, because they have been the hottest topics amongst the community when it comes to what we think the game needs to do to improve. Things like spawn logic being improved, weapon balancing being more consistent overall, map voting being introduced, and arguably the biggest of all these quote-unquote problems, match balancing issues being fixed. Match balancing obviously refers to the matchmaking system and team balancing presumably, so if this were to be a commonly checked item, perhaps we could see some tweaks to the apparent skill or performance-based matchmaking and general team balancing, which obviously a lot of players think would end up improving the overall state of the game quite a bit. Skill-based matchmaking has been, arguably, the biggest roadblock with the game in the eyes of a lot of players. So to see the match balancing option available on a survey like this at least shows that Infinity Ward acknowledges the subject, alongside all of the other standout problems referenced here as well, like spawn logic and whatnot too. So, between today's mini update adding in some cool new features and what has been previewed to be coming to the game in the near future, I would say despite this update not being the biggest we've seen in recent weeks, its overall impact on the game with the news that dropped alongside it is definitely up there. Of course, looking forward, we are going to see that roadmap revealed, which will give us a lot more information on what's to come, but we do know that we do have a handful of new maps set to be added in the near future, and I would assume there's probably some other unannounced additions coming to the game too in the coming days and weeks. But with all of that being said, that is effectively everything that ended up changing with the newest updates here in Modern Warfare, and that is going to wrap things up for today. If you guys enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like rating on it, as it would be much appreciated. And of course, if you are new here and you want to stay up to date with everything going on in the world of Call of Duty, including all the latest news and intel, updates and leaks, and pretty much everything else in between, feel free to subscribe with your notifications turned on. That way you'll always know when I post a new video. As always, if you would like to check out any of my partners, be sure to use code IMMORTAL on all Scuf, G Fuel, Control Freak, and Respawn products. And specifically for G Fuel, my discount code will get you 30% off your order all the way until the 26th, so be sure to take advantage of those increased savings while that boost is active. Once again, thanks so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.